See if the internet's going to. Okay, so now we're back with the internet. Of course, it's a totally new thing. So anyway, what I was going to say about the hobby night thing, you got a chick. She's wearing it like a bikini, and she's talking about 3D printing. That is the stupidest idea ever. Apparently, her beau does not really care about her because the last thing you want to do is get resin, like 3D printing resin, on your bare skin. And I mean that. Even if you're a bear, you don't want to do that because it will destroy your kidneys and every other part of you that you're maybe fond of, right? So that is just some stupid shit. And, like, okay, I mean, I can't say anything about it, obviously, but I am saying something about it. I'm saying that's stupid shit. Don't have your wife dress up scantily and then start fucking around with resin that, if it gets on your bare skin, can go through your body and start killing your kidneys, amongst other things. I mean, it does other things too. It can like F up your sex life. And I mean, it's really, really some bad stuff. But yeah, that's what this guy's doing. Okay, turn live chat on. I got another thumbs up already. Nice. Look at that. Validation. Validation. That's right. The best kind of validation, external validation. That would actually not be true. You should never seek external validation, but then again, whatever. Let's see if I can see something here. Okay, and like, of course, I have to be honest with you guys. I'm always going to be honest with you because if I'm not honest with you, then what's the point, right? And I'll cross myself and say, God forgive me, please, for my stupidity. But the reality is, if I were single, yeah, I'd bang the shit out of that chick. I'd probably date her for a little while. She looks like she could be a lot of fun to hang out with for a little while. But, on the other hand, I would never like have her pose in a bikini next to a bunch of resin and stuff like that. That's just not kosher. That is some not kosher stuff. You just don't do that. I mean, as a man, especially if you're trying to be a mensch, your only job is to protect your wife from things that might, be harmful to her, which a lot of times includes herself. And this guy is basically not living the mensch life. He's living the schmuck life. And I'm not a fan of that, Now, if if maybe he's got a problem with me and he's like, one day he's going to be like, I'm going to beat that dude's ass. Well, okay, that's fine. And honestly, I'm talking mad shit about his wife. So if he wanted to beat my ass, I'd totally get it. You know what I mean? Because it's like, yeah, I did talk mad shit about your wife. So I understand the need to protect your women folk, as it were. I get it. If somebody talked mad, I ran into them just on accident somewhere. I don't know. Maybe I'd explain to them how being insulting towards people's uh, women is not a good idea. See, but because I'm me, I would probably try to do it in like a peaceful way. I think Hungar can agree with that. I am a man of peace. But I would just be like, look, bro, you kind of, hey, Dean Powell, how you doing, homie? Yeah, thank you. As a man of peace, I would try to explain to the gentleman that, look, come on, man. There's things you do, things you don't do, and one of the things you don't do is what I did. And he'd be like, yeah, you're an effing hypocrite. And I'd be like, you're right. You're right. I'm sure that your wife is a lovely lady. And I was just being hyperbolic on the internet because it's the internet and that's kind of what you do. That's kind of the whole thing. You get hyperbolic about it. And, you know, and I'd be like, I didn't really actually mean to insult your lady, uh, you know. So let's be cool about this shit, right? And again, it's because as Hungar knows, Hungar can attest, I am a man of peace. If a man of peace, so don't force me to make you a man of pieces. I'm a man of peace, right? But for real, I am a man of peace. I would much rather avoid any confrontations when possible. Unless somebody really pisses me off, at which point I go into the weird zone. I can't even help it. It's almost like a dissociative disorder at which time I become a rage-filled monster. Like I did it one time and my wife was so upset with me, man, because she like grabbed me to try to pull me away from the other person. And since I was so focused, I was in the cold zone, as they call it in the Army. I didn't push her. My wife's biggest problem is she's very small. So, and I'm not very small. So if I get going, she can run up and grab me. I can run with her hanging off of me. You know what I'm saying? It's like I don't even notice she's got me because when I'm in that mood, when I enter that zone, I have this idea where it's not an idea because I'm not thinking anymore. It's basically I become an emotionless thing and I hyper focus on an objective. And a lot of times, unfortunately, the objective I'm hyper focusing on is causing bodily harm to somebody I feel like has done something that deserves it, right? And my poor wife, she will jump in and grab me to try and save me, but like I said, she's very small, right? And then she gets really mad because of course she's trying to save me from doing something that could land me in prison but she can't and she's yelling at me, but when I enter that zone I don't hear anything. You know what I mean? Because I'm too hyper focused. And so, yeah, it becomes a real issue for her. And then she has to explain to me that, I need to stop being a dick. And then I'm all like, okay, yes, ma'am, but it's a really embarrassing thing to happen. This is not me bragging. I hope nobody takes this as me bragging. What's up, William? It's not bragging because, as a man, there's nothing to brag about losing control of yourself like that. That's not braggable. That's bad. A man should always be in control. And it's actually very not masculine to lose control like that, but unfortunately, some people are emotional and they do emotional shit, but yeah, my bro Holy Diver is 100% right. It's hobby night. And again, the thing that aggravates me about it more than anything is that they're obviously trying to get the views based on her appearance. And it's like, oh God. It's like, come on. Come on, you know? I mean, if you want to talk about hobby stuff, talk about hobby stuff. That's awesome. But, you know, put some, I'm not calling for Sharia law over here, but come on, you know, don't be so blatant about your bullshit. Because then it just comes off as kind of cheesy, you know. You're just kind of like, really? I mean, you know, cool your jets there, lady. You know, put that, you know, get that shit in order, you know? Like, no one's over here trying to, like, stare at you. Yeah, Hungar's always been the more violent of the two of us. But usually only if somebody's messing with his kids or familia. Then Hungar will go all ape shit and start acting a fool. But me, I've usually been kind of the avoid problems when possible guy. Which is why I've been arrested so many times, but never convicted of anything. As a matter of fact, I've never even went to trial for anything. But I've been arrested. Jeez, I don't even know how many times. Probably more than 10. But, you know. Oh, look at that. Dean Powell has got the #1 crown again, or now. He has supplanted Hungar as the #1 crown guy. Shadow, what is up, man? We welcome back, Home Skillet. That's why I always call my brother Home Skillet or Home Duck. We had like a 4-hour stream last night, Shadow. Where were you, man? It was crazy. Like crazy shit was going on. Janet showed up dressed like a redheaded vampire monster. And then you know, me and Bear basically I trolled the shit out of Bear for a while. And then I stopped trolling Bear and started trolling Bruce a little bit. And then you know, the chat was ripping. Richard from DM Bloodwork dropped in. I mean, yeah, it was crazy, man. It was a crazy good time. People were like, the only thing that would have made it better is if you'd been there, homie. Also, have you seen the memes that you're in that have came out in the last like 3 days? The super memeologist that follows all my stuff, apparently he's got it in his mind that you might be a homosexual. I mean, at least as a joke, not in real life, but like the latest Let's Play. Apparently we hired henchmen because during the show we talked about hiring henchmen, and the guy who makes all these memes is the one guy that I can absolutely bet watches every minute of my live stream, right? And like, so these dudes are, again, they're dressed up in the leather and everything, like from the Blue Oyster from the Police Academy movies. And like one of them's yelling, "It's all queer over here." And everyone's like, "You're such a silly Billy." And I'm standing there in the dungeon and I'm like, I'm not sure hiring these guys was a good idea, right? And Shadow's all like, "I don't know. I think they're fabulous." And then Bear is standing there and there's like some gay dude in front of him. I think it's actually Mike Akaba or whatever, the guy that you know, Garibay's always going off on about how awesome he is. And Bear's just like, "Why is this guy always putting his butt on me?" And the dude's like standing in front of Bear, like with his ass on him, looking back, being all like, "Hey." And it's just like, okay, that's a deep dive. There's like a whole lot of he made a bunch of memes called "Too Straight for Modern D&D." Well, you're not on enough. You got to be like, see, Shadow and Bear there for a while every day. It was Shadow, Bear, and myself. And see, and here's what's weird. Double D rarely joins my show. Occasionally on a Saturday or Sunday, he will. But most of the time he's got, I mean, the dude works full time. He's got a wife, he's got kids, etc. So you don't see Double D on my show, but you do see Double D in like all the memes almost. He's in a ton of the memes. And it's usually nothing bad. It's just like Double D and myself, doing something. Like in one, we're in a graveyard and it's like, let's play Vampire LARP. And we're in a graveyard and Double D's looking at me and he's being like, I thought you said there'd be chicks. And I'm like, no, bro, I said there'd be bitches. And then like Condor DMs hide behind a tombstone and Greta Thunberg is there, you know, uh, and also a big fat Samoa, like sumo wrestler for some reason. So, and now how the sumo wrestler got involved, I don't know, but he's there. Yeah, Bear is a great guy. He's just, I mean, I get it if some people are like, man, he can be too much for me. I get it for some people. But not for me, man. I can't get enough of the guy. Like, I'm always like, I love it when he joins the show and then I start trolling the shit out of him until he starts doing his freaking Jesse Ventura thing. And he's like, I'm not a clown here to amuse you. I'm like, yes, you are. That is exactly what you are, my Canadian hombre. There is no link because this is effing YouTube and you can't invite people to join you when you're live streaming from YouTube freaking studio for some reason. Or if you can, please let me know because I can't find it. There's barely any buttons here at all. You know what I'm saying? It's like I can share it, I can share a screen, I can edit some stuff, and that's it, man. Yeah, it's because freaking Restream is having a AWS error. I don't know what it means, except that you cannot live stream with Restream right now. If you try, it tells you to go get bent, and that also your mom sucks. So I mean, it's being pretty mean about it, you know. I'm like, damn, go get bent, and your mom sucks. Why? Why Restream? Why? But yeah, that's kind of what's going on there. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. So here is a 8mm Knight, and that is a Paladin chassis, a Knight Paladin. The next one I'm going to build will probably be the Warden. I'm a fan of the Knight Warden. It is one of my favorite chassis. So yeah, I like the Knight Warden quite a bit. It packs a lot of firepower and it's got a power fist. So if somebody wants to get close, you can always, run up with that Knight power fist and rip a chunk out of somebody's ass. If you got enough of these bad boys together, like they call them banners, which are 3. A banner or 2 of these guys will take a Titan down, no problem. Amazon servers that host way too much of the internet. Oh, okay. So Amazon Web Server, maybe, or service or whatever. Maybe that's what that means. But yeah, so the Knight Warden has a rotary bolter, power fist, and a missile launcher on the back. So, 2 ranged weapons, a close combat weapon, ready to rock, And of course, this kit came with the data sheet so that you could play against Titans, so you could use it in Titan Legion. And that's awesome too, because one thing I'm going to say, and actually I shouldn't say that because it's a lie. I will say this because that's not a lie. This game, the Epic version of the game, is super freaking about everything's compatible with every other part of the Epic game. So whether you're like a huge fan of aeronautical whatever, the one where you're flying airplanes around, or you just like Titans, or you want to play Epic or whatever, every one of the Epic games is compatible with every other Epic game. So if you own Titan Legion, your Titans are compatible for use with Imperialis, whatever is, if you own the aeronautical stuff, your fighters and bombers are absolutely compatible with the Epic infantry game, basically. And if you buy the ones that are specifically for this version of the game, that's okay, because you can buy the correct bases separately, unfortunately, and then use whatever you bought that's an aircraft for this game in your Imperial Aeronautica games. And of course, the same goes for Titans. If you buy like these Titans, I bought specifically, or not Titans, these Knights, I bought specifically for the Epic game, but they give you the rules to use them with Titan Legions. So that is like probably the coolest thing Games Workshop has done since Manowar. Except unlike that, Manowar never came back, unfortunately. Whereas, this is a thing. Manowar should have definitely came back. In my opinion, the best game Games Workshop ever made was Manowar, but kind of like how they put out Starfleet Gothic and then immediately we're like, oh, okay, now we're not going to do this anymore. It's like, assholes. I don't know. Maybe they just ran out of ideas. Hey, Bruce. Found a copy of Uber Goober from 2007. See you guys in a bit. I can't invite anyone on until Restream gets its shit together. And I don't even know what Uber Goober is, so I am kind of curious about that. But yeah, Restream's being an absolute freaking, well, it's not Restream, it's Amazon, but you get the picture. Douchebags, one and all. Douchebags as far as the eye can see. Okay, cut out the right helmet for this guy, because they do all have different heads. Gotta get that right. And it looks like his whole mounted weapon is a stubber, and I actually had a stubber laying around, so I'm good. Neighbor of the Beast, I'm here and never left. Okay. Uber Goober was a D&D document. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I just, at the risk of being made fun of, especially by my brother, because he was making fun of me last night big time, I am kind of a Luddite. And a slow adopter of like the internet. So like I can honestly say when everybody was jumping onto the internet and using internet tools to help them run games and shit, I was not. Absolutely was not. Not that I think there's anything wrong with it. I don't. It's just that I never did it. So, like, I hear people talk about, oh, I had this thing and it was a CD-ROM disc and it had every Dragon magazine on it. And I'm like, yeah, I never even knew about it because, I mean, when my computer acts up, I call my daughter over to try and fix it. You know what I mean? I'm like, or one of the nieces or something. That's just who I am, guys. And yes, Pantera does rule. I'm glad to see that you know. And I'm sure you heard my story about the crazy chick that I dated that put on vulgar display of violence every night when we went to bed. God. And now I love that song though. This Love is one of my favorite songs of all time. You know, you take this love, you take this. Now, one of my favorite YouTubers, um, not Sticks, Razor Fist. He talks about like apparently Pantera before they went the whole vulgar display of violence route. They used to do more like melodic metal, and I am thinking about Hobby Night. I am, and I looked it up. And I just did a rant because the idiot has his wife in a two-piece bikini dealing with 3D printing. And I'm like, you freaking idiot. That resin, if it gets on your bare skin, will soak through and you'll end up with like plastic resin in your kidneys and testicles and shit. That's why you wear gloves when you F with that stuff. You know what I mean? It will F you up for real. Even the water-based shit that I use, it's like safer than the other stuff. But if you read about it, it says will still F you up, you know. So it's like the difference between getting bit by a 5-foot rattlesnake and a 2-foot rattlesnake. I mean, you're still probably gonna have to have a lot of work done, you know. Get all that necrotic flesh cut off and everything. Because that's what's going to happen with rattlesnakes when they bite you. Their venom just causes the flesh where they bite you to rot. So, a lot of times, if you see a guy down here in Florida that got whacked by a rattlesnake, they'll have like this long, nasty scar. And that's because they had to literally cut that chunk. Cleaner stuff. No, it's the resin. The resin you print 3D models with will absolutely jack you up. Now, I buy the resin that can be rinsed with water because that means I don't have to have a gallon of isopropyl alcohol hanging out in the garage, right? But it doesn't matter because the resin that's supposedly made with all plant stuff and whatever, it still will just completely destroy you if you get it on your skin, stuff like that. And I mean, maybe not right away immediately. You're not going to get on your skin and immediately be like, oh my god, I'm dying. But yes, my love.
It is 4 o'clock.
Oh, you're almost off.
No,
Cool.
partially that, but more importantly, you have a therapist appointment tomorrow. Or are you positive your ride is settled?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, that's all I wanted. I'm wondering off of you.
My ride already called to um, be like, hey, we're picking you up tomorrow.
Okay, well,
Thank you though for the heads up. Yeah,
tomorrow would have been too late.
Is tomorrow no, they
Tomorrow
called
is Tuesday.
they called today to tell me I had a medical transportation tomorrow.
Because your appointment's
I think tomorrow is with the doctor, and then after that is the therapist, but it might be opposite. Yeah, that's the doctor. So yeah, your standard average resin that a lot of people use, you have to use 99% isopropyl alcohol to clean. And sometimes even the water-based stuff that I've used, I'll do a big rinse with water to get all the stuff off, and then I'll throw it in a pickle jar, which by pickle jar I mean an actual for making pickles. It's got the insert and all that, full of isopropyl alcohol, because even though it says water rinsable, the alcohol gets a lot more resin off. So if you just use water, it'll look fine. But if you really, really want the Ace Frehley dyed, oh man. But if you really, really are trying to print something like with a lot of detail and you want super crisp, first you do water, then you do alcohol. And then you throw it in your UV container and you let it cook for a while. Or sometimes, depending on what the UV stuff is like here in Florida, I'll just set it like on a tray and set it out in the front yard. And I'll go ahead and let the Florida sun cook it, because it can and it will. So there you go. But yeah, I buy the water rinsable stuff, Ironcaster. So I mean, if their promises are to be believed, I should be able to use just water. But I said the rest of what I said, how I sometimes do. Like, if I'm printing something that doesn't have a lot of detail, fine detail on it, like, some tanks and stuff like that, or maybe a car or something, I don't worry about it that much. Well, see, and I'm lucky then that I wear these glasses, even though you guys noticed probably last month how I never even wore the glasses for like a month, because I don't need them to do anything but read stuff far away. And so they're basically grandpa glasses, It's like, you got your grandpa glasses on, and the answer is yes. I am wearing the grandpa glasses. But they call Trump a dictator, but tonight it's their empire that just went offline. No tweets, no streams, no safe spaces, just arrow screens, blue screens, and silence. Folks, this isn't just a glitch. This is a symbolic collapse. In fact, the physical and digital meltdown of a movement that. Damn, my wife has got that TV up loud. See people who stage the fake protests to save democracy. They can't even keep their servers. Up, she heard me comment. Turned it down. Okay, there we go. Trying to put the no more head trips. Dun 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 dun. But anyway, yeah, I mean, if you get it in your eye, I mean, it's like not good. It's actually super not good if you're not like 100% down with the safety procedures that go with like 3D printing. You are going to F yourself up and you will regret it. I learned the hard way, but it wasn't with 3D printing. It was with rattle cans. When I was young, I would rattle can, to primer all my miniatures and shit. And I never wore a mask. I was always like, yeah, you know, you don't need a mask. I'm out here in the freaking wild doing my thing, right? Now, you're damn right. I put a mask on because I'll tell you, and I can say this with a little bit of authority, being, you know, that I've been trained in the medical field. You can get stents for your heart. You can get like all kinds of shit, fixed blood pressure. You can get like basically every organ in your body pretty much can be fixed, repaired in some way, whatever, right? Except your freaking lungs, man. You rip your lungs up, you they don't come back. They don't regenerate. They just freaking, you know, wait to get cancer so you can die. That's what your lungs do. That's their whole job. They're like, "Yep, we're just waiting," you know. And I would not be surprised if one day I was diagnosed with lung cancer because I'd just be like, well, I've never smoked a day in my life, but I did stand around and freaking spray freaking rattle can bullshit all over the place. So, you know, I earned it. You know what I'm saying? I worked hard to get it. And I remember there were a couple times I'd be like spray painting a shit ton of stuff. And like all of a sudden I'd just feel it in my chest, you know, like, ugh. You know, you just get that feeling like your chest is saying, hey, dumbass, calm down, you know? What are you doing over here, right? And yeah, that has happened to me. Um, well, plus, you know, the firefighting stuff doesn't help your lungs either, right? So I don't know if I'm not giving medical advice. I am telling you this: protect your freaking lungs and eyeballs, right? I remember somebody told me, and they were very smart guys. They said, "Look, man, you can eat with false teeth. You can walk with a fake leg. You can even do all kinds of shit with a fake arm. You can do all kinds of shit with replacement parts, but you cannot see out of a fake eye. So if you're in a situation where you think it's just over, there's no coming back." Okay, apparently this time it